Well, let's move on. Let's connect with the management of NLC India. India's new national electricity plan aims to meet the peak demand of around 458 gigawatt by 2032. So what are the opportunities lined up for the power and the renewable companies? How is business momentum shaping up? To discuss this and more, we're joined by Mr. Prasanna Kumar Motupalli, the chairman and managing director of the company. Hi, sir. Good morning. Always good to see you. Tell us with regard to this new electricity plan that's been laid out. What kind of opportunities does it throw up for a company like yours?
Yes, this new electricity plan that is 2020 to 32, that is envisaging demand increase of almost 7 to 8% up to 2031-32, and then subsequently 5.76% for the next years. And in all the three areas, there is certainly encouraging initiatives are there. In thermal power generation, overall power generation, transmission and distribution. In thermal capacity addition, compared to current capacity of 4.59 lakh megawatt capacity, it is expected that the total capacity will reach to almost 9 lakh gigawatt by 2032. So, and in the transmission system also, many transmission corridors are coming for evacuation of the renewable power. Both these things are giving an opportunity to our company. As we are into mining, we are into thermal power generation, also we are into the renewables. So, in line with the National Electricity Plan, we are also targeting huge capacity addition. As on date, our company is 6 gigawatt company. We are targeting to become a 20 gigawatt company by 2030 and around 22 gigawatt by 2032. So, in line with...
Sir, just if I could interject, please, to get more clarity on this target of 20 gigawatts by FY30. How much is going to be traditional thermal and how much is it going to be by renewables? What is the plan on the generation side and on the renewable side in particular?
Madam, as on date, our total capacity is 6 gigawatt. Out of that, 1.4 gigawatt is renewables. So we are at 24% of renewable capacity as on date. So by 2030, we are targeting to become 20 gigawatt company, 10 gigawatt conventional capacity and 10 gigawatt renewable capacity. So our proportion of renewables will be more than 50% by 2030. That is our target capacity addition.
Okay, that's quite interesting. And also just to get the math right, I mean, between generation and the main business, which is mining, lignite and coal, what is going to be the mix again by, let's say, 2030, since power generation is growing in a big way for you?
Yes, madam. In line, along with the power capacity addition, we are targeting for increasing our mining capacity also almost double. As on date, we are around 50 million metric ton company, 30 million metric ton lignite and 20 million metric ton coal. This we want to take to 100 million metric ton by 2030. And all actions for reaching this 100 million metric tons are on. Recently, we got the Machakata coal mine, which is having huge reserves of 1.4 billion and 30 million metric ton capacity. So along with the power generation and renewable capacity addition, we are targeting to increase our mining capacity to almost double the current capacity.
So, sir, you know, the reason I ask you this, because if we look at some of the brokerages on the street and the ones that are quite optimistic on NLC India, one such broker says that over the course of the next 2 to 3 years, FY24 all the way up to FY27, they are expecting you to do a top-line growth of 15% across businesses, blended top-line growth of 15%, and an EBITDA CAGR of 20%, and also PAT also growing at 20%. So 50% top line, 20% at EBITDA, and 20% profits for the next 2-3 years. Is this possible? Is it a reasonable expectation to have?
Yes, madam. That is a reasonable expectation. We are also targeting more than that. So our top line, our EBITDA, and our PAT all will increase at a good rate till 2030-32.
Rate, sir, you said you will do better than what some of these brokers are saying. What is the target you are setting for the company? The growth rate?
Madam, we are not setting any target for the top line or this thing. We are targeting mainly the capacity addition aggressively in both conventional as well as renewable capacity. And we are also increasing our mining capacity. So we expect returns more than 16% and increase at the CAGR of around 15%.
Okay, all right. Sir, for a company like yours, regulated equity is very important, right? So could you tell us what it is right now and how do you see it moving up? A brokerage note is suggesting that you can move to around 19,000 crore by the end of this decade. Your take?
Yes, as you rightly said, ours is mainly in regulated business. And as on date, we are having regulated equity of around 7,800 crores. Where in the mining sector, we get return of 14% post-tax, and in thermal power generation, 15.5% post-tax. So going forward, we are targeting to increase this share to 23,000 crores by 2030. So in next 1 year period, this will be increased by around 4,000 crores. We will reach around 11,000 crores regulated equity in 1 year, because our Ghatampur thermal power station as well as our Pachwara South coal block both are will be operational, and that regulated equity gets added to our regulated equity. So end up in 1 year it will be increasing to 11,000 crores and 23,000 crores by 2030. That is our target.
No, in 1 year, when you say, sir, it will touch 11,000 crores and Ghatampur will come on stream, that's this year, FY25? By March?
Yes, FY25 March or by the first half of the next financial year. The entire capacity will be added.
Okay, so 11,000 crores, let's say by first half of FY26 would be the sort of the fair assumption. Got it. Sir, just to talk about more about the here and now, we've spoken a lot about the FY30 targets. Our colleague tells us that, there were some issues in terms of land acquisition for some of the mines at Navili. So could you tell us what the status is over there and what is the recovery in the business that you will envisage? By when do these issues go away?
Madam, in the year 23-24, first half of the financial year, we faced problems because of the land acquisition. There were some communication gap, and because of that, some land acquisition issues were there, and our thermal power generation, lignite production, both were getting affected. But in the middle, by December of last financial year, we completely addressed all these issues. Whatever the problems were there, there was one river which was required to be diverted. We diverted that river. And subsequently, we have taken around 560 hectares of land into our possession. So from January 2024 onwards, our lignite production as well as the generation are at peak, and there is no generation loss on account of lignite shortage. So all the issues of land acquisitions are sorted out, and we expect that there will not be any problem because of land acquisition. And subsequently lignite generation and power production.
Okay, all right. Very quickly, before we let you go, sir, you have given us a broader timeline, targets. Coal production for this year, I think you were targeting around 16 million tons, and I think lignite was at around 24 million tons. Both those two are on course?
Yes. Last year we produced all-time highest ever coal and lignite, that is 36 million metric ton. This time, as you rightly said, we are targeting 16 million metric ton of coal and around 25 million metric ton of lignite, and we are on course, and the production is happening in line with our targets.
All right, and very quickly, that IPO, last time around you had briefly hinted that the IPO could be due of the renewable portfolio. By Q4 of this year, markets are quite buoyant and they like this story. You think you'll come to the market with that offer?
Exactly. As on date, the process of transfer of our renewable shares to our newly formed subsidiary, NIRL, is in progress, and we are expecting that to be completed by the end of this calendar year. So we expect that in the last quarter of this financial year or the first quarter of the next financial year, this IPO will come.
Navily, renewables IPO could come either in Q4 of FY25 or first quarter of FY26, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so we'll have NTPC renewables and navally renewables. It is the era of green energy. Got it, sir. Thank you so much for joining in, and good to get that perspective as well. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much. So there's so much changing, right? So much underway that traditionally what we're seeing as dirty businesses, coal mining, lignite mining, thermal power generation, they're all trying to change and look at the energy transition.